Imagine this. It's September 2022. The air in Ouagadougou is thick with tension and uncertainty as the sun sets over the bustling city. People are anxious, rumors swirl, and the future feels more unpredictable than ever. Out of the chaos in Burkina Faso, a young man steps into the spotlight. He's not a familiar face from the old guard, but someone new, someone unexpected. He's 34, not a prince, not from a political dynasty, just Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a name few had heard before. He wasn't born into power, nor did he inherit influence. He earned his stripes on the front lines. Suddenly he's leading a nation of 22 million. Overnight, he becomes the face of a new era, thrust into the center of history. This wasn't the usual coup by an old general. Traoré was young, direct, and wore his uniform like he meant it. His presence was different, confident, but not arrogant. He spoke to the people as one of them. "I know what you're going through, I've been there." His words resonated, not just as promises, but as shared experience. The moment electrified the country. Young people saw themselves in him. For the first time, they felt their voices might actually matter. He didn't just seize power, he captured a generation's imagination. His rise was more than a political shift. It was a spark of hope. Traoré's rise was a declaration. The youth were done waiting for their turn. They were ready to shape their own destiny. The world's youngest head of state had arrived, rewriting his country's story. His image was everywhere, a symbol of change. His first appearances were telling, surrounded by young officers, not old advisors. It was a new generation stepping forward together. These were soldiers who'd fought in the trenches, frustrated by leaders who failed them. They knew the cost of conflict firsthand. Traoré became the face of this collective anger, a symbol of a system broken beyond repair. He embodied the frustrations and dreams of millions. He wasn't just leading a coup, he was channeling years of simmering discontent. The streets echoed with demands for real change. The question on everyone's mind, who is this guy, and what will he do next? The uncertainty was as thrilling as it was unsettling. The world watched, waiting for his next move. Every headline, every broadcast carried his name. Burkina Faso had a new, unexpected leader, and nothing would be the same. The country stood on the edge of a new chapter, its future unwritten. To understand Traoré, start at the beginning. Born in 1988 in Bondoukoui, he grew up far from privilege. He studied in Burkina Faso, not abroad, grounded in the realities of his country. At university, he found his voice, active in student associations, learning to organize and lead. These years shaped his sense of justice and leadership. He saw how a small elite held power while most struggled. For Traoré, change wasn't just possible, it was necessary. After graduating, he joined the army in 2010, not just for a career, but to serve. He wanted to act, not just talk. The military became his path from student activist to soldier. He was determined to defend his people, not just debate their problems. This decision set him on a collision course with his nation's destiny. The seeds of revolution were planted early, and they were about to grow. Traoré wasn't a desk officer. He was a man of action, forged by the realities of conflict. He was sent straight into the fight, where danger was constant and every decision could mean life or death. In the north, he faced the brutal jihadist insurgency firsthand, patrolling hostile terrain and defending vulnerable communities. He served in elite anti-terror units, witnessing the war's true cost. Fallen comrades, displaced families, and entire villages living in fear, their lives upended by violence. A UN peacekeeping mission in Mali showed him the limits of foreign intervention, where outside help often fell short of real solutions. He saw that real security had to come from within, built by the people themselves, not imposed from abroad. Back home, frustration grew. Soldiers risked their lives with poor equipment, outdated vehicles, and failed strategies that left them exposed and vulnerable. The disconnect with leaders in the capital was stark as politicians debated while soldiers bled on the front lines. Traoré and his peers, the Mamba group, shared their grievances. their bond forged by hardship, and realized that if change was to come, it had to come from them. His credibility and quiet charisma made him a natural leader, someone others trusted to speak for them and guide them through uncertainty. The soldier who'd seen too much was ready to act, driven by memories of loss and a vision for a safer future. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation as tension simmered and hope mingled with fear in the early morning darkness. Traoré's resolve hardened. Only bold action could save his country, and he was prepared to lead the way, no matter the cost. The countdown to change had begun, and the fate of a nation now rested on the courage of those willing to stand up. By September 2022, Burkina Faso was at a breaking point. The air in Ouagadougou was thick with uncertainty, and the people's patience was wearing thin. Attacks had only worsened under the previous leader Damiba, who himself had seized power through a military coup just months earlier. Hopes for stability had faded fast. A deadly attack on a supply convoy, leaving devastation in its wake, was the last straw for many. It exposed the government's inability to protect its people. Traoré and his men acted swiftly, taking control of the capital and seizing the national TV station to announce their intentions to the nation. He spoke not as a power-hungry leader, but as a soldier representing those risking their lives daily on the front lines, echoing the frustrations of ordinary citizens and the military alike. The coup was born of desperation and duty, not ambition. It was a response to a nation's cry for help, a last resort when all else had failed. Crowds filled the streets, supporting Traoré and waving Russian flags, demanding a break from the old order and signaling a desire for new alliances and a fresh start. Damiba resigned and left. Traoré became interim leader, stepping into a role fraught with challenges and expectations. He promised not to cling to power, but to restore security, rebuild trust, and hold elections as soon as possible. His focus was clear: reclaim the 40% of the country lost to armed groups, and bring hope back to communities living in fear. This was more than a change of leader. It was a new philosophy, a promise to put the people first and restore national pride. The era of waiting was over. It was time to go on the offensive, to take back what had been lost and show the world Burkina Faso's resilience. Traoré's leadership marked a turning point, inspiring hope and determination among both soldiers and civilians. The people wanted real change, and he promised to deliver it, vowing to listen to their voices and act in their best interests. Burkina Faso was ready for a fight back, united in purpose and determined to reclaim its future. Once in power, Traoré linked fighting insurgency to economic independence. He moved to nationalize gold, insisting Burkina Faso's wealth should benefit its people. He ordered the country's first gold refinery, no more exporting raw resources. His vision self-reliance, not just in gold but in food and industry. New factories and a tomato processing plant aimed to cut imports and create jobs. Salary reforms and public health campaigns targeted everyday struggles. Education was a priority, building the nation's future in classrooms. Traoré's approach was pragmatic. Develop from within, support local production. We must stop being a consumer society and become a producing society, he declared. It was a call for a new mindset. Believe in building for themselves. The road would be tough, but the goal was true independence. The government was now working for the people. A new foundation was being laid, brick by brick. Traoré's revolution was about sovereignty as much as economics. He demanded French troops leave, ending a symbol of neo-colonialism. The French withdrawal in early 2023 was a turning point. Traoré turned to Russia, Turkey, and China for military support, seeking pragmatic partnerships, not new masters. This pivot shocked the West, but thrilled many at home. He expanded the Volunteers for the Homeland, VDP, recruiting tens of thousands of civilians to defend their villages. The fight against insurgency became a national cause. This is our land, and we will all defend it together, he declared. The slogan, "Homeland or death, we will overcome," echoing Thomas Sankara. It was a call to arms and a promise of victory. The struggle was now for the soul of the nation. Traoré bet on the patriotism of his people. Burkina Faso was charting its own course. To understand Traoré, you must understand Thomas Sankara's legacy. Sankara, revolutionary leader from 1983 to 87, is an icon of Pan-Africanism. Traoré has embraced Sankara's symbols, slogans, and even his red beret. He revived projects like local cotton weaving. More than branding, it's a cultural statement. By invoking Sankara, Traoré taps into national pride and unfinished revolution. He pushes for dignity and self-reliance, shifting away from Western influence. The government promotes local languages and Burkinabe identity. Slavery continues in our minds, Traoré warns. His goal is mental decolonization. The revival of Sankara's spirit gives today's struggle historical context. It's not just a fight against jihadists, but to complete a mission cut short in 1987. For many, Traoré is the man daring to finish what Sankara started. The youth see him as more than a leader. He's a symbol of a dream reborn. Burkina Faso's revolution is now rooted in its own history. Leading a revolution is perilous. Traoré has enemies inside and out. The jihadist insurgency remains a deadly threat, despite some gains. The war's outcome is uncertain, the path is long and bloody. Danger also lurks within. A coup attempt in 2023 showed not all in the military support him. Old elites and foreign interests see his revolution as a threat. He must navigate treacherous politics and constant risk of betrayal. Arming civilian volunteers is risky. Potential for ethnic tension or rogue militias. Uniting a diverse nation behind one vision is a delicate task. Rebuilding state control in liberated areas is monumental. Schools, clinics, trust must return. Traoré is fighting a war and rebuilding a nation, village by village. The challenges would overwhelm most leaders. He's only 36. Every day is a test of unity, resolve, and survival. The stakes couldn't be higher. Traoré's influence reaches far beyond Burkina Faso. He's become a symbol for a new generation of African leaders, assertive, independent, and unafraid. His message of sovereignty and self-reliance inspires youth across Africa. He's building alliances, like the Sahel States Pact with Mali and Niger, aiming for regional unity. They're discussing a common currency and confederation, a radical break from the past. Traoré's speeches call for African unity and self-determination. He urges leaders to stop being puppets of foreign powers. The challenges are immense, the opposition fierce. But a fire has been lit in the Sahel, a captain daring to dream of a new dawn. Whether that dream becomes reality is uncertain, but the world is watching. For millions of young Africans, Traoré is more than a leader. He's a symbol of hope. The journey is just beginning. Africa's future may depend on leaders bold enough to rewrite the story.